if you're like me, one of the things that you're probably lacking is time. And that's probably one of the most important things that you can do as an independent musician is to constantly be looking at ways to save time. If you're like me, I have to grab moments here and there to be able to work on my music and to work on different projects. So I'm always looking for things to streamline everything to make it quicker and faster. So basically, when I walk into my studio, I want to be able to just flip on the switch and everything's pretty much ready to go. I want to keep my guitars out where I can get to them. Um, I want everything to be quick and functional. So when I get that spur of the moment creativity, I can walk in here, turn everything on, and just go right to work and not have to spend a bunch of time doing a bunch of setup and prep. Now you can do the same thing in your DAW by setting up templates. Setting up templates is something that really saves me a whole lot of time. And I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. In Studio One, you can actually set up a file, and you can, down here it says save as template. So you can actually create templates. And I'll give you an example here. I'm going to go in and create it's like I'm going to create a song. Now in Studio One, it already comes with some templates already set up. So you've got just an empty song, a band recording, house and techno, instrument sets, mixed arrangements, where they've already gone in and put in the basics of what you would most likely use to do it. But I like to set up my own templates, and with Studio One, you can actually over here when you click on user, you can set up your own templates, and this is mine, my main template. Now all I got to do is I walk in and I just click on that template and I open that template up in Studio One. And when it loads, I'm pretty much ready to go, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about once it loads up. Okay, now this is my main template. Now you've noticed I already have 11 tracks already set up. Normally when you pull up a new song, you got maybe 2 tracks and there's nothing in it. And if you'll notice, everything is already named. What I've done is I've pretty much sat down and decided what do I mostly use when I'm working on writing a certain song. I'm pretty much always going to have acoustic, and I'm usually going to have 2 because I normally double track my acoustics. And I'm going to have electric. Usually I'll have 2, one for rhythm, one for solo. Going to have a bass guitar, going to have a main vocal, going to have a backup vocal. Then I'm going to have drum track. And then I always have a second drum track for things like tambourines and shakers and things like that that I want to add. I can add that in there. Then a piano track. And then I have a track for presence. Now presence, I'm going to pull this up real quick. Presence is Studio One's main virtual instrument. And it has multiple virtual instruments in it. Okay, it's over on my other screen. Let me drag it over here so you can see it. Here you go, right there. Now, I put this in here for those instruments that, let's say I want to put strings or I want to put horns, something that I don't normally play, and I can't play that instrument, but I can play it using MIDI, using my MIDI key controller, or I can program the MIDI myself. And you can see, if you go up here, there's just a ton of different virtual instruments, bass and brass and pianos and organs and guitar and keyboards and percussions and orchestras and synthesizers and vintage keys and wind instruments. Everything is in here that I would possibly need. So that gives me one track where I can pull up this and pick any kind of instrument that I may want to add to it that I don't normally have in the studio and don't play myself. So what this does is this has saved me a ton of time. I've got all my tracks set. I've got them already named. And up here on my plugins, I've gone ahead and put my plugins in that I would most normally use on those instruments. EQs, reverbs, compressors. On my guitar tracks, I've already got Ampere already loaded. So I can pull up Ampere. Everything's going to my second screen. Hang on a second. Here's Ampere. Now I can even go into my presets and I can load what I would most normally use. If let's say I use smooth leads, which is a preset that I set up for myself. So I can go ahead and load that into the track, and it's already ready to go. So now when I pull it up, I would save it so that it's saved this way. Now when I go in, it's already ready to go. My amp modeling is already set up, ready to record. All I got to do is plug in my guitar and just start going at it. Same thing with Easy Drummer. I've got my Easy Drummer already loaded in the track. So I click on that. Easy Drummer pops up. She's ready to go. She's already loaded in the track. Everything that I'm going to need is already put in here that I would most likely use. And of course, you can add anything. All your presets all your plugins are right here. So if I want, if I want to add, a channel strip, or I want a fat channel, or if I want an expander, limiter, flanger, chorus, anything that I want to add to it, it's readily available right there. But what I've done is I've put the things that I would most often use for that particular type of instrument that I know I use all the time. So now I've saved myself a whole lot of time. My session is already completely set up and ready to go, and I can immediately get to work without taking time to load in tracks, name the tracks, pull in all my plugins, and you can go ahead and set up all your buses. You can everything that you would normally do. If you know it's something that you always do every time you set up a session, go ahead and pre-do it in your template. Go ahead and get it done and get it all set up. That way when you pull it up, it's ready to go. Now all I got to do is when I pull this up, I would immediately go up, hit File, and then I would save it for whatever the name of the song is going to be that I'm going to start recording. My template stays saved, and now I have saved a new copy of this as the song that I'm working on, and then I can begin working on it and saving it in that name. And then the template remains there ready for the next time that I want to pull it up. This will save you a whole lot of time. And as you well know, time is of essence when you're an independent musician. You're looking for those things that'll make everything quick and simple and easy. For when you have those creative moments, you can walk in your studio, you can pull up your software, and you're ready to go. And that's what Templates does for you. Just a good quick tip to use in your studio to save you a lot of time. Hope this helps you, and see you on the next video.
Comes up in the farmer's town, work all day till the sun goes